Operation Exodus was an initiative by the then called United Jewish Appeal, and it's 100 or so local Jewish federations to save the Jews from the former Soviet Union and relocate them to Israel. And in Hebrew, they call that Aliyah, which means immigration, and Klita, which means absorption or resettlement into the Israeli community.
Ron Friedman had recently been appointed to lead a reboot of Operation Exodus as its director. The initial Exodus campaign had just wound down a couple of years prior after evacuating hundreds of thousands of Jews from Eastern Europe. But Ron says there were still many more stranded in post-Soviet states, so he was charged with an even more ambitious goal for Operation Exodus 2, reaching the mark of 1 million Jewish people repatriated to Israel. And he knew that public awareness was going to be critically important in driving the necessary fundraising.
I remember the first meeting on Exodus where I had to get up to speed on what was going on in the former Soviet Union. And I said, we need to create a case for Operation Exodus 2 to inspire communities in the United States and Canada and around the world to help in fundraising and to generate interest, importance, and support. And that case that we created was not simply anti-Semitism, because there was anti-Semitism. And there was also lack of economic opportunity, lack of educational opportunity, lack of food and essential resources, lack of freedom.
So with that introduction from Marty Stein, Ron met Dick Grove for the first time and immediately came to appreciate Dick's approach to the PR process.
His compensation was predicated on performance. Traditionally, public relations firms go on either an annual or a monthly retainer, but he had a reputation for success. He was paid almost exclusively for performance. He understood the world of public relations and media relations. He was very articulate.
And together, Ron, Dick, and the rest of the team started to work on a unique plan to overcome the inertia of the good vibes in the wake of that Rabin-Arafat handshake.
Too many people out there that were expected to contribute money saw that photograph and thought, well, peace is broken out. You don't need my money after all. Everything's going to be fine. And the fundraising had dropped dramatically, I guess, from what they said. So they asked if we could help in that. And I said, of course, we're not a fundraising outfit. What we are is we're good at publicity. We're good at landing stories in the national media. And Marty said, that's exactly what we need in this case. So we talked about how best to do that. And what I suggested was they told me they were having various groups going over there. And I said, what I'd like to do is have my people become, in effect, journalists and embed ourselves, so to speak, in those groups and look for the stories that we could then bring back to the States. Because I said, the media here in the States, they're going to want credible stories and not just something that you guys have put out in a press release. So we thought, okay, we'll go over, we'll photograph, we'll video, and we'll look for those unusual news hooks that will, in fact, excite the national media and be able to tell the story of the plight of the Jews and what was going on. And they agreed to it. It was great. And they said, okay, if that's what you need. And they assembled a team that we were going to be working with. And we wanted to get over there quick. So we were over there certainly by the end of October, first part of November.
Particularly with a short turnaround window to plan the trip, but also given that you were going into some pretty poverty-stricken areas in a collapsed state, essentially. Did you have any personal concerns about your personal safety and well-being or that of the team around you or the ability of the mission to succeed?
Not really. I was frankly more excited over the adventure and the challenge than I was worried about the danger. I like to pride myself on the fact that I like living a little bit on the edge. But no, I saw it as truly an adventure that we were going to partake in.
But as with many adventures, this one would not be without its challenges or its uncertainties. So, coming up after the break...
If there was ever any sense of danger, it wasn't being on the ground, it was in that plane.
Dick Grove and the team barnstorm Moscow, Tashkent, and Tel Aviv, and then build a public relations campaign to save lives in Eastern Europe. That's coming up in a minute here on Lead Balloon.